Chapter 10 is on DNA, RNA, and protein synthesis. Chapter 10, Section 1 discusses the discovery of DNA and some of the major scientists who contributed. One of the first ones was Frederick Griffith, and he did an experiment with mice and some strands of pneumonia. And what he discovered through his experiments was this transformation process, which means that genetic information is able to be transferred from one cell to another. And at the time, he figured out that this information could move to different cells, but he didn't know whether it was DNA, RNA, or proteins. So Oswald Avery came around a little bit later, and he was able to conduct similar experiments also with mice, but he was able to conclude that it really was DNA as opposed to RNA or proteins that were able to be transferring this genetic material from cell to cell. But even after Avery's experiments, it wasn't still believed 100% that DNA was this powerful enough molecule to be able to do this. So it wasn't until about the mid-1900s when Alfred Hershey and Martha Chase did their experiments, and they used bacteriophages in an experiment called the Blender experiment sometimes, that finally did prove once and for all that DNA was actually the hereditary molecule that was able to transfer genetic material from one cell to another. If you look in your textbook, you'll see diagrams of both Griffith and Avery's experiments, and also of Hershey and Chase. Here's their, famous blender and their different dyes that they were using to infect the bacteria cell with the bacteriophage, and the green dyed DNA, and then the red dyed sulfur that would be in the protein molecules.